be polite, but don't interrupt people. So you'll see some people, especially with your boss. Boss is trying to get something across. Oh, but don't do that. Your objective is to create a memorable and favorable impression. It's your brand. What we talk about, what Marty talks about a lot, is it's your brand. You don't want to be that person who's coming across as divisive or you know, loud and you know, you just want to have a good impression and be charismatic, as we talked about earlier. Never speak poorly of anyone. You can think it all you want, but don't talk bad about people. It will get back and it will hurt your career. I'm just telling you up front. It's easy to think it if you have a small circle of people outside of work that you want to talk about issues with, that's fine, but don't ever talk about your staff or your bosses. Now, if you're in meetings, also important, let the executives guide the discussion. They call the meeting, they push the discussion, they lead it. Not make excuses either. A lot of people will just make every excuse. It's good to give explanation, but not excuses. There's a big difference there. Also, if there's a problem, and this is good in anything, I think in all personal or professional, if there's a problem, don't just say, oh, this is a problem, because you do that, that's whining. Whining is when you talk about problems. But if you have a problem and you have to come with a proposed solution, that's a completely different thing. So with your bosses, with any coworkers, this is a problem, what do you think about this? So you're coming at it with something else. If you ever come at me with problem, you know, I will listen, but I also want to know what you think. It's critical thinking skills. This is a problem, here's some proposed solutions. Now, that's not all the solutions that are out there, but that's you know, at least you're coming with something. When networking with senior officials and executives, always being positive, projecting a professional image, highlight successes of your departments, being humble. Now, being confident and being cocky are two different things. Also, highlighting the success of your department, there's also a difference between, you know, just, you know, you don't, not overdoing it as well. And if you do overdo it, and I've known people who have done it in the past, and your successes will speak for themselves in the future. You can't rush it. So just continue, you know, people are going to notice. Why should you not speak poorly of others while networking? We talked about it, but what are your thoughts?
Because you don't know who they know. Exactly.
What's that?
You never know who they know.
You never know. That's right.
Especially you talking to could already happen affection with the person that you just talked about.
Right. There's nothing worse than trying to pull your foot out of your mouth.
It just makes you look bad.
Right.
It will work better for yourself if you focus on your own positive qualities and not on the bad qualities of others.
Right. Nobody wants to be around negative people, all right? Nobody wants to be around people who are bashing people all the time or bring drama. Who has time for that? Seriously. No one has time for that. So surrounding yourself with positive people is what's going to uplift you. Like we talked about, I think it was you saying having some friends who were negative and always like Debbie Downers or whatever you call it. Just nobody wants to be around those people. And if you complain a lot, people will listen, but they're not going to be there long term for you if they're, you know, listening to just whining. Types of bosses: you have good bosses, you have incompetent bosses, you have abusive bosses. Good bosses, because bosses are human beings just like you and I. We all have our flaws. We all have things, you know. We all have areas of opportunity. We all have strengths. When you have a good boss, you have to, because there's so few of them out there, I think. Like quality people who are mentoring, that mentoring type of mentality want to teach you, you have to cling to that. And you have to cling to organizations that value a culture of mentoring, because it's so important for your career development and growth. Because a lot of the bosses you'll find are just average, you know, they're okay, they're good people. You know, a lot of people, I always talk about bosses, well, he's a good guy. That doesn't mean anything, all right? It doesn't mean anything in the workplace. It's good to be a good person, it's good to not be a jerk, but you know, he's a good guy. Yeah, well, can he get the job done? Can he or she get the job done? Are they effective in their role? That's what's most important. Are they a good mentor? That's what you should really be looking at. You find a lot of incompetent bosses out there and a lot of abusive bosses. So that's what you want to steer clear of. That's why we're doing what we're doing in this class. I want to help prepare you for those situations. Bosses are human beings too. They're learning and trying to develop their skills just like you are. Everyone in the world is trying to figure it out, okay? So just because they're at a certain level doesn't mean that they're perfect. We can't expect people to be perfect. No matter if you work for a jerk, if you work for a great, you always do your best, okay? You can never drop, how many of you have had a bad boss, abusive boss, who basically just had an I don't care attitude? That's what you don't want to get to. I've had that happen to myself. It's bad, okay? Because your brand, just because they're the way they are, you shouldn't change who you are because of that. Good bosses are respectful and fair, and they'll groom you for promotion. When your boss, if you do a great job and they rise, what might happen to you? You go up too. All right. Always keep the relationship professional. You're not friends with your boss. Keeping it nice and professional at all times. Basically, your job is to always make your boss look good. That's what we're there for, whether you like them or you hate them. Your job is to make them look good. All right, and do your job and make them look good. Incompetent bosses are people who don't know how to do their job, and there's a lot of them out there. Have any of you ever heard of the Peter Principle? Okay, the Peter Principle is a book written, nothing back in the 80s. Basically, it says people rise to their highest level of incompetency in the workforce. That's true. You see it each and every day. You work for people who basically, like Michael Scott's on The Office. Everybody watch that show or seen it? Okay, everyone has incompetent bosses. For some reason, they've hit that level. They're not going to go any higher, but they're just incompetent, and everyone knows they're incompetent, and that's just the way it is. But actually, when there's downsides or anything else, they're generally the first people to go. But no matter how incompetent your boss is, you have to be professional and give it your best each and every day, because somebody else is watching, all right? And you always want to make sure you're making them look good, regardless of whether they deserve it or not. And then you have bosses who try to receive credit for your work. Have any of you ever had that happen? Okay, it happens quite often. You need to, again, your job is to always make your boss look good and to do the right thing at all times. There's going to be some personality conflicts where you and your boss don't see eye to eye. I've had it happen a couple times. But don't let your personal performance become affected by it. Stay positive. Don't badmouth your boss, okay? Basically, you learn a lot from just like you learn a lot from, people learn from their mistakes. You learn a lot from watching people who are just downright mean, bad bosses. Because you know what? I don't want to be like that someday, all right? Everything you're doing now, you're building your skill set up, and you know what you want to do and what you don't want to do. That's very important. Then you have abusive bosses who are belittling and intimidating. They have no right or business being anywhere. You need to be able to address that. You have to be professional. You have to go to HR. And if that doesn't work, you have to leave. No one should ever work in an environment where you're bullied, you have abusive bosses, anything else. You can go anywhere and work in this industry, literally anywhere. You don't have to work for people you don't like, okay? Now, if there's discrimination or harassment, you need to bring that up immediately, and you cannot feel scared. What happens a lot of times is we've seen over the last year is people think that some bosses are untouchable, or they're in this position, I can't say anything about this guy or this woman because of who they are. What happens when the first person comes out? What happens? Another person comes out, and you know what happens to that person? It's gone. All right. No one should be associated with people who are like that. So they will disassociate themselves with people like that. You just have to speak up. You have to do the right thing. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. So if you have to be strong enough to say, this happens a lot, but it's not going to happen to me. And because there's somebody out there weaker than you who's being abused by this person, and you need to step up and say or do something, okay? Colleagues, being respectful to all. I don't necessarily like everybody that I work with. and I never really have. But I mean, there's some people I like, and there's some people I don't like. That's okay. There's some people when I was working, I would feel comfortable going out and watching the game with and having a beer. And there's certain people I would love to just get in an octagon. All right? But that's okay. You don't have to like everybody you work with. You do need to be professional, polite, and be able to work together to get a job done. Now, when personal relationships work goes sour, which I've seen happen too, it is awkward for people. We need to be able to address that. Bottom line is you have to be able to work professionally and be a professional. Being professional is doing the right thing, carrying your brand, who you are, and not sinking low to a level like that and getting involved with that politics and or drama. There's nothing worse than drama in the workplace. Basically, always making sure within your organization you're networking with people outside, whether that's out, if you're a chain organization, you're working with other people outside of your building. It's very easy when you're at work to just focus on the people you work with. There's a lot of people outside too. And if you don't like your job, which a large majority of people don't like their job, you have to get out there and you have to network and you have to go to other places and be part of organizations and all that where you can learn to meet different people. Or LinkedIn, if you're meeting people, let them know and then touching base with them. Keep all interactions positive and respectful. Defend your employees. Now, I look at this as, and I can remember this from people coming in and if they were to ever, I've had to throw people out, some physically, from establishments because of what they did to my staff or what they were saying or doing. But you have to stick up for your staff.